WRKS Pickens Jackson.
Are you ready? Yes!
Now live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
You are listening to
Mississippi's '1 sports talk show, The Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming worldwide live on the Out of Bounds radio app and on your radio at ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
Good morning. Welcome in. We are the Out of Bounds Show, brought to you by the amazing steaks, bourbon, and wine list at Kessler Prime in the Renaissance. Visit KesslerPrime.com to make a reservation. This is 105.9 The Zone ESPN. We have the Ole Miss Rebels and the Southern Miss Golden Eagles tonight at the M Braves ballpark. Mississippi Braves, baby, which, by the way, great partner on the show, and they'll get it kicked off April 7th. And we're looking forward to that, too. It's going to be a beautiful night at the ballpark. It's a great facility. We're lucky to have it in the metro area. Ole Miss and Southern Miss, Bianco versus Scott Berry. We've had a lot of these over the years. And here we go. We welcome in Brad Henderson, Ole Miss baseball insider. And he joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Brad, is Ole Miss that far off? They're playing competitive games. They don't want to be 0-6. But to a certain extent, I don't feel like they're that far off. What do you see?
Yeah, I don't either. If you'd have asked me this question last week after the Vanderbilt series, I would have told you we had a long way to go. But, I think we had an opportunity this past weekend to win 2 games. It didn't happen. You hated to give away game 1 with a 3-run lead going into the 8th, only needing 6 outs to get. But, it didn't happen. And you credit Florida. They're a heck of a baseball team. And then Sunday, we had a chance. I think Caglione walked 7 or 8 batters the first 3 innings, and we just couldn't get the big hit to kind of jump out and get some momentum. So credit them, but you're right, Bo. We're a lot closer than we were, 8 days ago.
Right. Brad Henderson on the Out of Bounds Show. This team needs a win. Midweek games are important, but this one kind of feels like it's really important for Bianco and the squad. Is that how you see it tonight, Brad?
Well, they're all important. And, anytime you play Southern Miss, who Scott Berry's always had a really good team, it's always a good matchup. It's a fun matchup for the fans, especially in Pearl. But yes, you would love to get some momentum against a really, really good team going into College Station this weekend and having to play a Texas A&M team who's kind of in the same boat we are. They're 1-5 and they're trying to scratch and claw and get some momentum headed into the rest of the conference season. So yeah, it's a big game. But like we just talked about, I think the guys are focused and they'll be up for this one. It should be a good crowd, and you mentioned how good the weather's going to be, so it should be a lot of fun tonight.
Talk to me about Mississippi State and Ole Miss are both tied for last in home runs allowed through 6 games. Brad, 17 home runs allowed. That is tough to overcome. When a lot of these, not for MSU, but for Ole Miss, when a lot of these games come down to a couple of runs as far as deciding factor.
Yeah, we just haven't been able to make pitches to get off the field. And I think you've seen Vanderbilt in both the Ole Miss and Mississippi State series. They're starting to swing it, right? And Florida, we knew could swing it. I really think the answer to that question is the flip side to it. Ole Miss just hasn't hit the long ball. And, you pop a 3-run homer, or a 2-run homer as well. And you're talking about a momentum changer and a confidence builder. And Ole Miss, I believe, has hit 2, maybe 3 home runs in the first 2 conference weekends. And that's uncharacteristic. I think that's the surprising thing to me is not so much that we haven't matched people home run for home run, but we haven't hit many to get that confidence and momentum going like we saw last year.
Brad, I was at the series over the weekend, Mississippi State and Vanderbilt, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Vanderbilt's really getting revved up, hitting on all cylinders. I mean, you knew their pitching was there, but now their hitting's getting warmed up. You know, to me, I don't know what your thoughts are after seeing them the week before, but this looks like an absolutely loaded Vanderbilt squad.
Well, you would hope so, right? Because they swept both in-state teams, and you would like to think that you played one of the best in the country. And I think Florida's in that same boat. You know, they're both ranked 2 and 3 respectively in some of the polls. But, you know, Bo, it's a long season. And, you know, I heard Chris Lamonis talking yesterday on another talk show, and kind of like Mike Bianco, they're trying to figure out the pitching. Obviously, they both had injuries to weekend guys. You know, you're talking about Cade Smith at Mississippi State and obviously Hunter Elliott for Ole Miss. And so they've had to rearrange, and so far it hasn't worked. I know Coach Bianco said yesterday we're going to change it up. They're going to leave Jack Doherty on Friday, and they're going to move Xavier Rivas, who I think has been our most consistent guy the last 3 weeks, to Saturday, and they're going to move J.T. Quinn, who had early in the season started throwing the midweek games. They're going to move him to Sunday. So obviously when you're 0-6, you've got to go back to the drawing boards and try and figure out something that works. So we'll see how that turns out this weekend for the Rebels.
So, yeah, you know, A&M's 1-5. We know that Schleschnagel's a heck of a coach. He was amazing at TCU, and they were in the College World Series with y'all last year. But they're kind of polar opposite squads right now. So I think this could be a really, really I know Florida was pretty tight, but I think this could be a really, really tight series where the one swing game could go either way, Brad.
Totally agree. You know, you just hope going on the road, you don't put that pressure on yourself. You know, we were one hit away, one play away, one pitch away from turning this past weekend around. But, you know, I was talking to Peyton Chotinier the other day, and obviously he's a veteran. This is his 4th year now at Ole Miss. And he said we just have to play a more complete game. And he's totally right. You know, when we pitched it well, we didn't swing it. I thought we pitched it pretty well early Sunday, and we just didn't hit. I thought the first 2 games we hit, we just didn't pitch it well enough. So, you know, the pieces are there. It's just a matter of them putting it all together, and that's what you got to do in this league. If one facet of your game doesn't show up, you get exposed and typically don't win. So, you know, it's an important weekend. You can't sit back as an Ole Miss fan and say, boy, when we get Hunter back, well, Hunter's not coming back for a while, you know, so you can't get so far behind the 8 ball that you can't play catch up. So it's a vital weekend, and obviously Ole Miss needs to play well and just get the bad taste out of their mouth. You know, get a win under your belt, get some confidence, and get the tide turned.
That's why tonight is huge. Rebs, Golden Eagles tonight. It's going to be a beautiful night at the ballpark. Mississippi Braves Stadium is a great facility. And they're going to get after it. Both teams need a win, and Ole Miss definitely wants to get that W before they head to College Station in a winnable series this weekend. Tell me what – I've only got about a minute, Brad Henderson, but tell me what you like about what Jack Doherty's doing.
Well, he's keeping us in games, and, you know, we were up 6-3 going in the 8th in that first game, and that's really all you can ask from a starter. And he really needs to log some innings. You know, it doesn't need to be one of those where he only gets you through 3 1/3 or 4 innings, because then you got to get in that bullpen pretty quick for long weekends. So he's been able to extend the game, get that pitch count up, and then turn it over to the bullpen to give ourselves a shot to win. So he's a competitor, you know, and he's been there before. We saw him on the big stage last year when he threw so well in the World Series. So he's got that. You know, he's got that under his belt, and you know, I just like the fight in him. He gets the ball, gets after you, and tries to get off the field and give your offense a chance.
Brad Henderson, Ole Miss baseball, on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Brad, thanks for making time for us today. We'll talk soon.
Always a pleasure, man. Appreciate it.
Hindu joined us on the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Ole Miss Rebels, Southern Miss Golden Eagles tonight. Braves, Mississippi Braves ballpark. Should be a perfect night for some good college baseball. Mike Detillier at 8:30.